The vodka had already loosened the knot of anxiety that lived permanently in her stomach. Tonight, she wasn't Mrs. Park. Tonight, she was just Savanna, 28, alive, free. "Your husband thinks you're at my place, right?" Maya shouted over the music. "Book club," Savanna laughed bitterly. He actually believed it. At the bar, a man caught her eye. Tall, broad-shouldered, with sharp features and an easy smile. He was watching her with an intensity that should have made her uncomfortable, but instead sent heat rushing through her veins. "Can I buy you a drink?" His English was perfect. Savanna started to say married, but the word died on her lips. The ring on her finger suddenly felt like a shackle. "I'm Savanna. You can call me Jay." His smile widened, and something flickered in his eyes, something hungry. "Dance with me." She shouldn't. She knew she shouldn't. But when he took her hand, she followed. The hotel room was a blur. His mouth on her neck, her dress pooling on the floor, the city lights painting patterns across his skin. For hours, Savanna forgot about the bruises hidden beneath her clothes, forgot about the way her husband screamed when dinner wasn't perfect, forgot about everything except the way Jay made her feel, desired, powerful, alive. "You're incredible," he whispered against her collarbone, his hands mapping every curve. In the darkness, she let herself pretend this was her life. That she went home to someone who looked at her like this. That she wasn't trapped. When dawn crept through the curtains, reality crashed back. Savanna dressed quickly, her hands shaking. "Wait," Jay said, sitting up. "Can I see you again?" "I can't. This can't happen again." "Savanna." "Goodbye, Jay." She didn't look back. The apartment was silent when she slipped inside at 6 a.m. Too silent. Her 7-year-old son Miho would be asleep for another hour. Her husband. Where were you? Savanna's blood froze. Park Jae-sung stood in the kitchen doorway, still in his pajamas, his jaw clenched. "I texted you. Maya's place. We had wine and you reek of alcohol. And perfume." He moved closer, and she forced herself not to flinch. "What kind of mother stays out all night?" "The book club ran late, and I didn't want to drive." His hand shot out, gripping her chin roughly. "Don't lie to me." "I'm not lying," she whispered, her heart hammering. He studied her face for a long moment, then released her with a shove. "Shower. You smell like a whore. And make Miho breakfast. He's been asking for you." Savanna fled to the bathroom, locking the door with trembling hands. In the mirror, she could still see the faint marks Jay's mouth had left on her neck. She'd have to cover them carefully. As the water ran, she touched the tender spots and felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. 3 weeks later, Savanna sat in the parent-teacher conference room at Seoul International Academy, trying to focus on what the coordinator was saying. "Miho is such a bright student. We're lucky to have him. And speaking of lucky," Mrs. Kim beamed, "we have a wonderful new teacher joining us. He'll be teaching Miho's class. Very experienced, came highly recommended from Singapore." "That's nice," Savanna murmured, checking her phone. Jae-sung had texted twice already, asking when she'd be home. "Actually, he's here now. Let me introduce you." The door opened and Savanna's world tilted sideways. "Mrs. Park, this is Mr. Chin, our new Year 2 teacher." Jay stood in the doorway, looking impossibly professional in a crisp button-down and slacks. His eyes met hers, and for a split second, something dark and triumphant flashed across his face before he smiled warmly. "Pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Park." Her mouth went dry. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. "Mr. Chin," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. He crossed the room, extending his hand. When she took it, his thumb brushed against her palm deliberately, a reminder, a claim. "I've heard wonderful things about Miho," he said smoothly. "I'm looking forward to getting to know him. And you, of course. I like to build strong relationships with my students' families." "That's great." Savanna pulled her hand back, her pulse racing. Mrs. Kim clapped her hands together. "Mr. Chin has such a progressive approach. He believes in home visits to better understand each child's environment. Isn't that wonderful?" "Home visits?" Savanna's voice cracked. "Yes, just casual dinners with the families. Very informal. I find it helps me tailor my teaching approach. Jay's smile was perfectly pleasant, but his eyes held hers with an intensity that made her skin burn. I was hoping to schedule one with your family soon. Perhaps next Friday. We're very busy. Oh, Mrs. Park, you must make time. Mrs. Kim insisted. Mr. Chen is doing this for all his students. It would be such a valuable experience for Miho. Trapped. She was trapped. Of course, Savanna heard herself say. Friday works. Excellent. Jay's smile widened. I'm really looking forward to meeting your husband. And seeing where Miho comes from. That night, Miho wouldn't stop talking about his new teacher. And Mr. Chen said I'm really good at math. And he's going to teach us about space. And he plays football, and he said maybe he'll coach us. That's wonderful, darling, Savanna said mechanically, pushing food around her plate. Jae-sung looked up from his phone. New teacher. Yes, Savanna said carefully. He's very enthusiastic. He wants to do a home visit. Dinner. Next Friday. Her husband's eyes narrowed. A man? It's part of his teaching philosophy. He's meeting with all the families. Fine. Make sure the apartment is spotless. I don't want him thinking where he paused, his gaze raking over her. Wear something appropriate. Not like what you've been wearing lately. Savanna nodded, her stomach churning. After Jae-sung retreated to his study and Miho was in bed, her phone buzzed with an unknown number. Looking forward to Friday, Savanna. We have so much to catch up on. Her hands shook as she typed back. Savanna, what are you doing? This is insane. Unknown. Getting to know my favorite student's family. Save my number. We'll be talking a lot. Jay. Savanna, stay away from my son. Unknown. I would never hurt him. I'm not the monster in his life. We both know that. Savanna, you don't know anything about my life. Unknown. I know you haven't stopped thinking about me. I know you're trapped. And I know you felt more alive in my bed than you have in years. I can give you that again, Savanna. I can give you everything. She stared at the message, her heart pounding so hard she felt dizzy. Unknown. See you Friday. Wear that black dress. The one with the zipper. She didn't have a black dress with a zipper. But the fact that he was already planning what she'd wear made her realize just how deep she was in. This wasn't a coincidence. Jay hadn't just stumbled into her son's school. He'd hunted her down. And now he was moving into her life like he belonged there. Savanna looked toward the study where her husband sat, then back at her phone. She should tell someone. She should quit. She should run. But as she remembered the way Jay had touched her, the way he'd made her feel powerful instead of broken, she realized something terrifying. She didn't want to run. Friday arrived too quickly. Savanna had scrubbed the apartment until her hands were raw, prepared japchae and bulgogi until the kitchen smelled like a restaurant, and changed her outfit 4 times before settling on a modest navy dress, definitely not black, definitely not with a zipper. Jae-sung inspected the table with his usual critical eye. The napkins are crooked. I'll fix them. And you're wearing that? It's appropriate for a teacher meeting. He stepped closer, and she instinctively took a step back. I don't want him getting any ideas. You understand. It's a professional dinner. For Miho's education. The doorbell rang, and Miho came sprinting from his room. Mr. Chen is here. Savanna's stomach dropped. She smoothed her dress, took a breath, and opened the door. Jay stood there looking devastatingly handsome in dark jeans and a gray sweater, holding a bottle of wine and a gift bag. His eyes traveled over her slowly, and she saw the slight quirk of his lips, disappointed she hadn't worn the black dress, but pleased to see her anyway. Mrs. Park. Thank you for having me. His voice was warm, professional. Mr. Chen. Please come in. Jae-sung appeared beside her, and Savanna watched Jay's expression shift, taking in her husband with cool assessment. Mr. Park. Jay extended his hand. Thank you for opening your home. Miho talks about you constantly. Liar. Miho barely mentioned his father. Jae-sung shook his hand, his grip clearly too tight. My son's education is very important to us. As it should be. You have a remarkable boy. Jay crouched down to Miho's level. I brought you something, buddy. A book about the solar system. Miho's face lit up and Savanna's chest tightened. Jay was good with him. Dangerously good. Dinner was excruciating. Jay charmed Jae-sung with talk of education philosophy and asked thoughtful questions about his work. He complimented Savanna's cooking extravagantly, holding her gaze a beat too long when he said, "Mrs. Park, this is absolutely incredible. You have a real talent." Under the table, his foot brushed against hers. She jerked back, spilling her water. "Clumsy," Jae-sung muttered, tossing her a napkin. "My fault," Jay said smoothly. "I stretched my legs. Sorry about that." But his eyes told her it was no accident. When Miho excused himself to play, Jae-sung poured more wine. "So, Mr. Chin, Singapore, was it? What brought you to Seoul?" "A fresh start," Jay said, his gaze sliding to Savanna. "Sometimes you meet someone who changes everything. Makes you want to be somewhere new." "Romantic," Jae-sung said flatly. "Are you married?" "Not yet. But I'm working on it." Savanna's pulse hammered in her throat. "Mr. Chin," she said, her voice too bright, "would you like to see Miho's artwork? He's been working on a project about space." "I'd love to." She practically fled to Miho's room, Jay following close behind. The moment they were in the hallway, out of sight, his hand wrapped around her wrist. "What the hell are you doing?" she hissed. "What does it look like?" "I'm getting to know your family." His thumb stroked the inside of her wrist, finding her racing pulse. "God, I've missed touching you. This is insane. You need to leave. You need to. Transfer to another school? Disappear? Let you go back to that." He nodded toward the dining room where her husband sat. "I saw the way you flinched when you moved. I saw the bruise on your arm when you reached for the serving spoon." Savanna's eyes burned. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me. Tonight. Meet me after he's asleep." "I can't." "You can. You did before." His hand moved to cup her face, achingly gentle. "Savanna, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. That night, it meant something. It was one night. It was everything." His intensity pinned her in place. "I know you felt it too. And I know you're scared. But I'm not going anywhere." Miho's voice called from his room. "Are you coming?" Jay released her, stepping back with that easy smile. "Lead the way, Mrs. Park." The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. Jay left with warm goodbyes and a promise to see Miho on Monday. Jae-sung retreated to his study with barely a word. At midnight, Savanna's phone buzzed. "Jay, the cafe on Gangnam-dero. The one that's open 24 hours. 1 hour." "Savanna, I can't leave." "Jay, he's asleep. I can hear him snoring from the street." Her blood ran cold. She went to the window and looked down at the street below. Jay stood under a streetlight, phone in hand, looking up at her window. He waved. "Jay, 59 minutes, Savanna. I'll wait." She should call the police. This was stalking. This was obsession. But instead, she found herself pulling on jeans and a hoodie, slipping out of the apartment like a teenager sneaking out. He was dangerous. He was obsessed. And God help her, she was walking straight into his arms. The cafe was called Midnight Brew, and it was empty except for a bored barista scrolling through his phone. Jay sat at a corner table, 2 cups already waiting, 1 black coffee, 1 caramel latte with extra foam. Her favorite. Exactly how she'd ordered it that night. Savanna slid into the seat across from him, her hood still up. "How did you know I'd come?" "Because you need answers." He pushed the latte toward her. "And because you're tired of being afraid." "I'm not. You checked behind you 4 times walking here. You're wearing dark clothes. You left your phone at home in case he checks the location." Jay leaned forward. "You're terrified, Savanna. But not of me." She wrapped her hands around the warm cup, needing something to hold on to. "How did you find me? You really want to know?" "Yes." He sat back, studying her face like he was memorizing it. "That night, you left your earring in my hotel room. A small gold hoop. I found it the next morning and I couldn't throw it away. I went back to the club the next weekend, hoping to find you. Asked the bartender if he'd seen you. He remembered you, said you came with a friend, mentioned you were a British expat. That narrowed it down." Savanna's stomach twisted. "That's not enough to. I hired someone." He said it so casually, like it was normal. "A private investigator. Gave him your description, the earring, what little I knew. It took him 2 weeks. Found your Instagram through your friend Maya's account. Private, but your profile picture was clear enough. Then it was just a matter of finding out where you lived, where your son went to school. The room spun. You hired someone to hunt me down? Yes. That's insane, Jay. I know. He didn't look away, didn't flinch. I know exactly what it sounds like. But from the moment I saw you in that club, Savanna, I knew. And when we were together that night, the way you let go, the way you trusted me with yourself, his voice roughened. I couldn't just let you disappear. So you became a teacher? At my son's school. I was already a teacher. Singapore wasn't a lie. I just redirected my career path. He reached across the table, his fingers hovering near hers. I got my certifications verified for Korea, applied to every international school in Seoul until I found the right one. Seoul International Academy had an opening. I made sure they wanted me. This is stalking. You know that, right? This is obsession. I know. His eyes burned into hers. I'm not going to pretend this is healthy or normal. I'm not going to lie and say I stumbled into this job by accident. I wanted to find you. I wanted to know who you were, why you were so sad that night, why you ran from me like I was a dream you couldn't keep. Tears burned Savanna's eyes. You should have left me alone. Should I have? He finally touched her hand, his fingers warm and solid. Should I have let you go back to a man who hurts you? Who makes you flinch? Who's killed every light inside you until one night of freedom felt like oxygen? You don't know anything about my marriage. Then tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you're happy. Tell me those bruises are from accidents, that the fear in your eyes at dinner was my imagination. His grip tightened. Tell me you don't dream about that night the same way I do. She couldn't. I have a son, she whispered. I can't just. I know. Miho is incredible, by the way. Smart, kind, creative. He talks about you like you hung the moon. Jay's thumb stroked across her knuckles. He barely mentions his father. Do you know why? Savanna closed her eyes. Because his father doesn't see him. Doesn't play with him. Doesn't ask about his day or care about his interests. Jay's voice was gentle but relentless. But you do. You're everything to that boy. And you're teaching him that love looks like what you have with your husband. Stop. Is that what you want? For Miho to grow up thinking it's normal to control someone? To hurt them? Or for him to think it's normal to be controlled? Stop. She pulled her hand back, her chest heaving. You don't get to do this. You don't get to stalk me and manipulate me and pretend you're some kind of savior. You're obsessed with someone you spent one night with. That's not love, Jay. That's possession. He absorbed the blow without flinching. You're right. It is possession. It is obsession. He leaned forward, his voice dropping. But it's also the only time you felt alive in years. Admit it. The air between them crackled. I can help you, he said softly. I have money saved. I have connections. I can help you leave him, help you get a lawyer, help you. Why? Her voice broke. Why would you do all this? Because I can't stop thinking about you. Because I don't want to. His eyes held hers with devastating honesty. Because when I'm with you, I feel like I found something I didn't know I was looking for. And because you deserve more than what he gives you. Savanna's phone, the one she'd left at home, buzzed in her mind like a phantom. How long had she been gone? 20 minutes? 30? I have to go back. Not yet. Jay's hand shot out, catching her wrist. Not hard, but firm. One more thing. What? Wednesday. There's a parent-teacher social at the school. Evening event. Spouses encouraged. He'll want to come, won't he? To make sure I'm not, he smiled darkly. Whatever he's afraid I might be. Probably. Good. Wear something red. And meet me in the supply closet on the second floor at 8 p.m. 5 minutes. That's all I ask. Are you out of your mind? Yes. Completely. He released her wrist, but held her gaze. But you're going to do it anyway. Because you want to know what happens next just as much as I do. He was right, and that terrified her more than anything. Savanna stood, pulling her hood back up. This has to stop. Whatever this is. It's already too late for that. Jay's smile was soft, almost sad. It was too late the moment you walked into my hotel room. We both know it. She crept back into the apartment at 2 a.m. The bedroom door was still closed, Jae-sung's snoring audible from the hallway. She'd gotten away with it. This time. In bed, staring at the ceiling, Savanna replayed every word. Jae was dangerous. He was obsessed. He'd hired someone to find her, manipulated his way into her son's school, and was systematically inserting himself into her life. She should report him. She should run. But as she touched her wrist where he'd held her gentle, despite everything, she felt that same spark of hope she'd felt that morning after the club. Maybe he really could help her escape. Or maybe she was walking into something far more dangerous than her marriage. Her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten she'd brought it back in. Jae, sleep well, Savanna. Dream of freedom. I do. And, just so you know, I meant every word. I'm not letting you go. P.S. The red dress. Don't forget. She should block his number. Instead, she saved it under school, Mr. Chin, and fell asleep imagining what Wednesday would bring. Monday morning, Miho was ecstatic to go to school. Do you think Mr. Chin will remember the book he gave me? I read the whole thing. I'm sure he will, darling. Savanna smoothed his hair, trying not to think about Jae's hands in hers, his voice in the dark cafe. At drop-off, she stayed in the car. But through the window, she watched Jae greet each student with genuine warmth. When Miho ran up to him, chattering about the solar system book, Jae crouched down to his level and listened like it was the most important conversation in the world. Her chest ached. Then Jae looked up, directly at her car, and smiled. She drove away too fast. Tuesday was torture. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped. But Jae didn't text. He was giving her space, letting her stew in anticipation. It was working. Jae-sung announced at dinner that yes, he'd be attending the parent-teacher social. I want to meet this Mr. Chin properly. See what kind of man is teaching my son. He's very professional, Savanna said carefully. He was very interested in you at dinner. Kept looking at you. He was being polite. Jae-sung's eyes narrowed. Where's something appropriate? Nothing that attracts attention. Which meant nothing that made her look attractive. After he went to bed, Savanna pulled out the red dress she'd bought years ago and never worn. It was simple, elegant, with a fitted waist and a hemline just above the knee. Appropriate enough for a school function. But red. Definitely red. She hung it on the closet door and stared at it like it was a loaded gun. Wednesday arrived with rain hammering against the windows. The parent-teacher social was held in the school's multipurpose room, decorated with student artwork and a modest refreshments table. Savanna wore the red dress. Jae-sung wore disapproval. That's what you chose? It's appropriate for a school event. It's red. It's the only clean dress I have. Which was a lie. He grumbled, but didn't force her to change. They were already running late. The room was crowded with parents and teachers mingling. Savanna spotted Jae immediately. He was surrounded by parents, laughing, comfortable, magnetic. When he saw her in the red dress, something flashed in his eyes. Heat. Possession. Victory. Then he turned back to his conversation like nothing had happened. There he is, Jae-sung muttered. Let's go. The next 20 minutes were agony. Jae-sung monopolized Jae's attention, asking pointed questions about his teaching methods, his background, his personal life. Jae fielded every question with practiced ease. No, not married. Yes, I'm enjoying Seoul. Yes, Miho is exceptional. His eyes kept drifting to Savanna. Small glances that her husband didn't catch, but that made her skin burn. At 7:55, she excused herself. Restroom. Don't be long, Jae-sung said without looking at her. Her heels clicked on the tile as she climbed the stairs to the second floor. The hallway was empty, dimly lit. The supply closet was exactly where Jae said it would be. She shouldn't go in. She opened the door. The closet was small, cramped with shelves of paper and supplies. She'd barely stepped inside when the door opened again and Jae slipped in, clicking the lock behind him. You wore red, he breathed. You're insane. He's downstairs. Anyone could. His mouth was on hers before she could finish, hot and demanding and tasting like coffee and something dark. Savanna gasped against him, and he used the opening to deepen the kiss, his hands sliding around her waist, pulling her flush against him. She should push him away. She kissed him back instead. "I can't stop thinking about you," he murmured against her lips, his hands moving up her back, onto her neck. "Every night. Every morning. You're all I see. Jay. Tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me this isn't real." She couldn't. She was drowning in him, in the way he touched her like she was precious, in the way her body remembered his and came alive under his hands. His mouth moved to her neck, finding that spot that made her gasp. "Let me help you leave him. Let me." Footsteps in the hallway. They froze, Jay's hand over her mouth, both of them pressed against the shelves. The footsteps passed. A teacher, maybe, or a janitor. When the sound faded, Jay released her slowly. They were both breathing hard, the small space thick with heat and danger. "This is insane," Savanna whispered. "I know." He brushed her cheek, his touch achingly gentle. "But you came anyway." "I shouldn't have. But you did. And you'll keep coming back." His thumb traced her bottom lip. "Because you're as caught in this as I am. I have to go. He'll notice. Saturday. The Han River. Bring Miho. I'll be running there at 3 p.m. Make it look like an accident." "Jay." "Saturday, Savanna." "Say yes." She should say no. Should slap him, report him, end this now. "Yes," she whispered. His smile was devastating. "Good girl." He kissed her once more, softer this time, then slipped out of the closet first. Savanna waited 3 minutes, fixing her hair and lipstick with shaking hands. When she returned to the social, Jae-sung was talking to Mrs. Kim. Jay was across the room, chatting with another parent, looking perfectly innocent. But when their eyes met, the air ignited. "Ready to go?" Jae-sung asked. "Yes." In the car, he was quiet. Too quiet. "That teacher," he said finally. "Stay away from him." Savanna's blood went cold. "What?" "Mr. Chin. I don't like how he looks at you. He doesn't." "I'm not blind, Savanna." His hands tightened on the steering wheel. "And neither should you be. Men like that are dangerous." She almost laughed at the irony. "I'll keep my distance," she said. Another lie to add to the growing pile. Because Saturday was coming, and she had no intention of staying away. Saturday morning, Savanna suggested the Han River like it was a spontaneous idea. "Miho needs fresh air. We could pack a picnic, let him run around." Jae-sung looked up from his laptop. "Fine. I'll come." Her heart stopped. "You don't have to. I know you're busy." "I said I'll come." His tone left no room for argument. "We'll leave at 2:30. Which meant she needed to warn Jay. But her husband had been watching her phone usage like a hawk all week. She couldn't text. At 2:45 p.m., they arrived at Uedo Hongang Park. The weather was perfect, sunny, breezy, families everywhere. Miho immediately wanted to fly his kite. "Stay where I can see you," Jae-sung called, then turned to Savanna. "You seem nervous." "I'm fine. Are you?" He stepped closer. "Because you've been acting strange lately. Distracted. Secretive." "I'm not." "There you go again. Lying." His hand shot out, gripping her arm hard enough to bruise. "I'm not stupid, Savanna. If you're hiding something. Look." Miho's voice cut through the tension. Savanna pulled free, forcing a smile. "Coming, darling." She jogged toward her son, her arm throbbing. Behind her, Jae-sung followed at a measured pace, his eyes never leaving her. At 3:05 p.m., she saw him. Jay was running along the river path, earbuds in, looking effortlessly athletic in joggers and a fitted shirt. He wasn't looking for them, or at least, he appeared not to be. Savanna's breath caught. "Mr. Chin." Miho spotted him first, waving enthusiastically. No. But it was too late. Jay had noticed them, pulling out his earbuds with a surprised smile. He jogged over, barely winded. "Miho. What a coincidence." His eyes flicked to Savanna for a split second, a question, a warning. He'd registered Jae-sung immediately. "Mrs. Park." "Mr. Park. Beautiful day for the park." "Mr. Chin." Jae-sung's voice was flat. "You run here often?" "Every Saturday. Training for a half marathon." Jay's smile was easy, natural. Nothing like the Han River on a weekend. Convenient, Jae-sung said. The air grew thick. Can Mr. Chen fly my kite with me? Miho asked, oblivious to the tension. I'm sure Mr. Chen has his run to finish, Savanna started. I've got time, Jae said, his eyes still on her husband. If that's all right with you, Mr. Park? It was a challenge. Subtle, but unmistakable. Jae-sung's jaw clenched. 5 minutes. Jae jogged off with Miho, and Savanna was left alone with her husband. She could feel his rage simmering beneath the surface. That's quite a coincidence, he said softly. Him being here. Right when we arrive. Seoul is a big city, but there are only so many parks. Don't. His hand wrapped around her wrist, squeezing. I saw how he looked at you just now. Like he knows you. He's Miho's teacher. Of course like he knows how you taste. Savanna's blood turned to ice. Jae-sung's face was calm, but his grip was crushing. Have you been fucking him? No. God, no. You're being paranoid. Am I? He jerked her closer. Because you reek of guilt, Savanna. You're practically vibrating with it. Miho's laugh echoed across the grass, where Jae was helping him launch the kite higher. Let go, Savanna whispered. People are watching. Let them. But he released her anyway, leaving red marks on her wrist. We're going home. Now. But Miho just got here. Now. She knew that tone. Knew what would happen if she pushed. But as she called Miho back, Jae jogged over, reading the situation instantly. His eyes went dark when he saw her wrist. Leaving so soon? Yes, Jae-sung said curtly. Family matter. Of course. Jae crouched down to Miho's level. See you Monday, buddy. Great job with the kite. Then he stood, his eyes meeting Savanna's. In that moment, she saw murder in his gaze. Mrs. Park, he said softly. Take care of yourself. The drive home was silent. Miho fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from running. Savanna stared out the window, her wrists throbbing, her mind racing. When they got home, Jae-sung carried Miho to his room, then closed the bedroom door behind them. Strip. Savanna's stomach dropped. What? You heard me. I want to see if you have any other marks I should know about. Any evidence of your little affair. There is no affair. He was on her in an instant, shoving her against the wall. Don't lie to me. His hands grabbed the hem of her shirt, yanking it up. She struggled, but he was stronger, always stronger. And then he froze. On her collarbone, barely visible but definitely there, was a faint bruise. Not from him. From Jae's mouth, that night in the supply closet. What is this? I don't know. I must have. His hand cracked across her face. Savanna tasted blood, her ear ringing from the impact. She'd been hit before, but never this hard. Never with this much rage. Who is he? Jae-sung's voice was terrifyingly calm now. The teacher? Someone else? How long has this been going on? There's no one. Another hit. Tell me the truth. Stop, she sobbed. Please, Miho will hear. Then tell me. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her face was on fire, her vision swimming. And then her phone buzzed on the nightstand. They both looked at it. Are you okay? Jae. Time stopped. Jae-sung picked up the phone, read the message, and his face went absolutely blank. Which was somehow worse than anger. Jae, he said softly. His name is Jae. He's just concerned because you grabbed me at the park. You saved his number. Jae-sung scrolled through her phone with terrifying calm. Under school, Mr. Chen. How thoughtful. Let's see what else we have here. He found the other messages. The ones from Wednesday night. The ones from after the cafe. His face remained expressionless as he read them all. Then he threw the phone against the wall, shattering it. Pack a bag, he said quietly. What? You're going to my mother's house. In Busan. Tonight. And you're staying there until I decide what to do with you. I can't leave Miho. Miho stays here. With me. His smile was cruel. You want to act like a whore? Fine. But you don't get to do it under my roof, and you don't get to do it around my son. Please. 1 hour. Pack your things. My brother will drive you. He headed for the door, then paused. And Savanna? If you try to contact that teacher or anyone else, I will make sure you never see Miho again. I have lawyers. I have money. I have proof of your affair. Try me." The door slammed. Savanna collapsed on the floor, her face throbbing, her world crumbling. She had no phone. No way to warn Jay. No way to tell him what happened. And her son was trapped in this house with a man who'd just shown exactly how dangerous he could be. He knows about Jay. Her son is leverage. And exile is just the beginning of her nightmare. Like, comment, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what comes next.